Hello, and welcome to First Contact with artist podcaster J.K. Woodward, who we just lost a second ago. So hopefully he pops back in a second.
He did mention he's been having Wi-Fi issues. Apparently, there's some ionic interference in the atmosphere on his planet. It's very tricky. But in the meantime, we remain Dave and Davan. We are your hosts. Indeed. Locutors of Trek.
We are
happy to see you again.
And the finest of diplomats over here at Live Long and Podcast.
Indeed.
Might we add.
We like to say the shappiest of diplomats, but not all species agree.
Not as shappy as we used to be, unfortunately. Oh, he's back. All right, perfect timing. All right,
and now introducing
J.K. Woodward.
So did you just do the whole intro?
We did.
For a minute.
Oh my, we're having... No, it was just choppy. Yeah. We just had trouble hearing what you were just saying there. If you want to repeat what you just said, maybe.
Yeah. Were you doing the intro while I was away in cyberspace somewhere?
Yeah. We nailed it.
Right.
We're Davan and Dave, aka Plain Simple Tailors.
Mm-hmm.
We've never met before. Maybe we'll redo the introduction.
Indeed.
We're happy to have you on here. I love your art, and I have for some time.
Oh, thank you.
I think your Riker cover is probably my favorite cover of the year this year.
I've always been kind of a horror guy, and doing Star Trek and getting to do both, get a little bit of horror in there isn't always happening, but I have a lot of fun
though.
Yeah.
It's one of the maybe 3 times that's ever happened at the most. But and you're also a Star Trek podcaster, which
or
we have in common.
Safe to say, used to be. I don't think we're going back to it at this point. It's been a couple of years. We've been on hiatus, so it happens. I mean, it's my primary function is to draw the things, not talk about them. So sometimes I try my best to have a podcast every week, but you guys know it's a lot of hard work, especially if it's in interview shows. And then and the editing, I mean, what people hear is just the tip of the iceberg. All the work is behind it. I spend like 6 hours editing a 1-hour show. Who has that time every week?
Well, luckily I don't have any talent otherwise that pulls me in other directions, so I can kind of just focus on the podcast. But I'm glad you put time into your art, that's for sure.
Yeah, Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us a little bit about your art and sort of how you came to be a cover artist and an artist in general.
Well, I've always wanted to be a comic artist. I think I made that decision when I was 12 or something, and then it just hasn't changed. I've kind of just followed that trajectory. I'm a cover artist now, mostly, and mostly for Star Trek. But my passion is sequentials, and I used to do a great deal more of them. I don't remember if you remember the Star Trek Doctor Who crossover. The first Mirror Universe TNG one, I think Mirror Broken it was called.
Yeah, I got it back here somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, so I used to do like at least 6 issues a year of Star Trek sequentials, and then I started exploring other avenues with some self-published stuff and kept myself open just for the covers now. So I'm doing that. But yeah, it all started with sequentials, I think, as everybody does. You don't go right to cover artist.
How do you get
I suppose not
pigeonholed a cover artist, or like if that's the right word, maybe not. But
I find if you do it, if you do it with any kind of success for a long enough time, you get to ask for things, or at least steer towards that. So it's a matter of letting editors know what you're available for, and if they want to use you, they'll use you for those things, or tell you, well, or they'll try to talk you into it. I mean, they've tried to talk me into doing sequentials, but that's a jail sentence. Like if you have an 8-issue miniseries, you know what you're doing 20 hours a day for the next year, so it's time intensive stuff. So it's a big commitment when they want you to do sequential. So I'm happy cover artist because then I can go explore like this other horror stuff, which I'm bringing back to Star Trek with the cover you mentioned.
Yeah, with amazing cover. You gotta, if you haven't, well, everyone saw it. It was on our opening banner.
Throw it up again.
Look at that. Riker turning into the werewolf. I mean, and there's Mira Picard there. Yeah, I have that one.
Yeah. So I have to say, of those images up there, I'm so struck by the cover with Data and Picard on it, where the layers are peeled back.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun because I've always been curious about what Data looks like on the inside, as horrific as it sounds.
We've only ever got
we only ever get the
right
back of the
here,
skull,
right?
Yeah, you get the yeah. It looks like cranium made of probably titanium, right? I think they say, and that's all you ever see. But there's got to be sinew under there, like muscle under the face, like if you rip the face off, or something like that. Because not to be morbid about it, but you see his face move. So.
No, you did use "rip" as a word there.
No,
but I mean, I guess in part, I mean, taking those layers off, I thought was really fascinating. And as a painting piece, you can sort of put all the layers together simultaneously in a lovely way. But it made me think that the style of painting there, I found, and I mean, this may be something you've heard before. I found. I was getting sort of resonances with some of Dave McKean's work. I'm a huge fan of the classic Sandman covers, for instance. So some of the palette I felt, some of the way you're approaching the construction was reminiscent to me. Would that be a fair statement in terms of influence on you?
Absolutely. If you're mentioning McKean and Sienkiewicz, for example,
Sienkiewicz, my guy, man.
But I mean, it's McKean's more accurate in this because he used to like to use a lot of vertical. And a lot of straight lines and delineation in the work, and I think I think that's exactly where I got that from.
So what leads you? How did the comic aspirations and the Star Trek intertwine, or how did that come about?
Oh, they were both always there. When I was like, I think I started watching the original series in syndication when I was about 7 years old, and at the same time I was reading Spider-Man. Or X-Men. So, comics and Star Trek have always been in this trajectory in my life, my whole life. And then I started getting serious around, I think, 13 or so about drawing comics. I got a book called How to Draw the Marvel Way. I think it was called. Everybody's
I was going to ask you if you had that.
Yeah, the Buscema book.
I love that book.
Yeah, it was enough of a start to teach me I didn't know as much as I thought I knew, and got me a lot more serious about the creation of comics. And I've always been a fan of Star Trek comics as well. So Star Trek comics, I love it all. It's no surprise this is where I ended up. Because I don't think I would have settled for anything else.
Good.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that book, How to Draw the Marvel Way. I remember cracking that open probably around the same age. I was probably 11, 12, 13 when I got that book. And even, the way they show you how to sort of make things a certain number of heads high or all that sort of stuff, the way the body proportions work. Later on, when I ended up looking into I was kind of teaching in a great books program somewhere where we were teaching about Renaissance Italian art. And the whole notion of a braccia, what they call sort of an arm length in Italy, that there's a braccia for art, which would be you'd sort of subdivide them into 3 or 4 braccia to make a human being or something like that on your page. I mean, there's a huge amount of really great fine art principles, oddly enough, embodied in that book.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. And then there were a lot of classically trained artists that broke every one of those rules too. So it was really confusing as I started, because I was learning from stuff like this, and I was actually learning from like Bern Hogarth books as well. And you're right. There's a lot of crossover between fine art. Art is art. Illustration's illustration. There are principles when it comes to perspective and anatomy that you have to learn. And no other artist has to know more about all of it than comic book artists. But, you pretty much have to know how to draw everything. But yeah, there was a lot of confusion at that age because I was watching these rock star artists break all these rules at the same time. And then I realized there's 2 ways to learn. There's classically trained, and then there's learn by observing and whatever inspires you. And they're not necessarily in conflict, but for instance, the aforementioned Sienkiewicz has drawn a Moon Knight with like 12 heads tall instead of 6 heads, But I mean, he's giving you the feeling of the movement. He's giving you some kind of kinetic energy or something that's this. I think it was Frank Miller said, know the rules before you break them. So it's okay to break them. Better to know them first.
Sure.
So
intent is everything.
So here on
I suppose you have to know the course before you can blow over them, right? Yeah,
right.
We like to shine things through the lens of Star Trek.
Yeah.
So I was thinking something new for our first contact segments here. I'm going to try out on you. I got a quick Star Trek rapid fire for you.
Okay.
Good. All right. We're going to get our baseline on like your favorite things about Trek here. All right. And then after the rapid fire, I'm sure like a lot of your answers might open up other conversation. And let's see what happens here. All right. So number 1, favorite show.
I hate that. That's like favorite Beatles song.
Yep.
It depends. I answer this different every time. Right now, Deep Space Nine. But, I'm sure somebody can go back 15 years ago and see an interview where I said the original series. And sometimes
we're not going to go back and watch that interview, so it's all good. But number 2, favorite episode.
Offhand, Take Me Out to the Holosuite, DS9.
We just reviewed that one.
Oh, did you really?
Command Division last.
I almost wore my Niners shirt for this. I should have.
I don't have mine on either. I have a Niners shirt as well. It's one of my favorite episodes of television. I'm around there with you on that one. Number 3, favorite movie.
Oh, I'm going to get crucified for this every time I say it. 5.
Oh my God!
Wow,
yeah. We're gonna have to talk about that at the end.
That is a hot.
I have done full 2-hour podcasts on the topic.
Okay,
always the one guy defending the movie, but
4. Who's your captain?
This is gonna sound weird, but Picard. I think Picard caught me at the right time in my life. And he had that very Trek quality of being a rule follower that doesn't let it get in the way. He's very tied to his dogma, but he breaks it. And then that was kind of a quality I liked about Kirk. I just think Picard had a whole lot more of it.
All right. Number 5, favorite character.
I'm gonna go with Spock. It's a tough. It's always fish out of water. Is that coming from here or you guys? Sorry.
That's you.
Okay. All right.
Run! They're coming for you.
Right freeway, so it's picking up all sorts of noise. So, you want me to take that over again?
No. What? Oh yeah, no Spock. That works.
I was saying
6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, 6. Favorite villain.
Favorite villain. Ooh. I mean, it's got to be. I never really gave it thought. It's got to be Q, don't it? I'm always happy when there's a Q episode. I've never been disappointed.
That's a fine answer.
It's got to be
That's
Q.
fair.
Khan came to
7,
mind, but he's
favorite... Yeah, go ahead.
He's too serious.
Yeah.
7,
favorite alien species.
Klingons by far.
Kapla.
We have number 8, favorite ship.
The Excelsior, the very first one that they revealed. It's a good looking ship. Now, if we're talking Federation ships, if we're talking, I'm not giving any short answers here. If we're talking
that's fine.
Ships in general, I'm going to say Klingon Bird of Prey. The original beats it all. But if we're talking Federation
I'm a
ships,
Warbird guy myself.
Yeah.
And number 9,
TNG. Those are good looking ships. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And number 9, biggest Herbert.
I'm gonna say Jim Shimoda when he got drunk in that second episode. What a Herbert! You remember that playing with the isolinear chips?
Oh yeah,
That's a deep cut. That's a good
one. I would bet you on the Enterprise D they just called it. You pulled a Shimoda after that.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, Sam.
I think you have to explain a little bit your Star Trek 5 answer now.
Yeah, I'm totally intrigued.
Okay.
Hi.
when it came, oh, who's this?
This is Edith. Say hi. We're talking to J.K. Woodward.
Hi, Edith.
Papa.
Oh.
Yeah, we were talking about Star Trek V. The thing about the original series that I was most important to me was the Trinity, the interaction between those three, and that movie had this in spades, more so than any other movie.
No, that's true. Yeah.
So the campfire scene opening, mountain climbing opening, is enough for me to say it's my favorite movie to begin with. I also like that it was like my other favorite movie, the motion picture. It handled like a high concept journey story, which we hadn't had for a while, because 2, 3, and 4 were all missions, but 2 and 3 were battle missions, very much the same in formula. And then 4 was a lot of fun, but 5, we're back at it. We're back exploring. It threw in a little Wrath of Khan in there, because it had to have the action scenes, the kidnapping the captain, the action movie. But I like that we were going after something, even though that they cut that part of the movie down to a half hour.
Well, thank you for indulging us. I mean, that's the best defense of 5 I've ever heard. Let me just say.
Me too. You made me want to go watch it again, and I didn't think that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I probably have not watched that movie in like 15 years, I would say. So yeah. I should go back and take another run at it.
So I should ask you, since we go ahead.
No, sorry. We have such a lag here. I should say my defense of Star Trek V was probably the best you heard, because you're probably the only one you've heard. I don't hear many people defending that movie, to be honest.
Yeah, that may also be true. It's a big fish in a real small pond.
I should ask you about your Take Me Out to the Holosuite answer as well, since we just reviewed it.
Okay,
maybe trade. All right.
I have an affinity for the comedy break episodes. So there's some people that are kind of apologists for it, and they say they do it too much or whatever. I'm not one of those people. I love them, and this was the best one of those. So hence it's my favorite. I love seeing the Vulcans as just these stuck-up rich kids.
Yeah, it works.
Because they would get on your nerves.
Their entire thing in Enterprise. In Enterprise, they were all just those stuck-up guys.
And at this time, when that first came out, we hadn't seen it as much. We've seen McCoy's kind of bigotry towards Vulcans, but we didn't really see, kind of making fun of them. So
we hadn't seen much of a real foundation for it. That's true.
Yeah, and then they would get on people's nerve, especially when they started telling stories about Starfleet Academy. You get like these 20-something-year-old kids, and then these new kids come from another planet. They're twice as strong, twice as fast, and they tend to be right all the time. You're not going to like them. Nobody's going to like them.
Episode starts off perfectly, where the Vulcan just walks in, and Sisko's just like, "Welcome to Deep Space Nine," and he just goes, "Your welcome is acknowledged." He's just like, I'm like, this is gonna be a good episode, and it is. Like, yeah. And it might be the best holodeck episode too, of all the kind of crazy holodeck episodes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah,
it's a great one.
It's a great one for sure. So I wanted to ask you about your podcast, actually, because I've been listening to it, and it started off as a discovery review podcast. Is that it?
Yeah, we were doing a comic book podcast called JK's Happy Hour, where we just I lived in New York at the time, and we just have people come over to the bar and we record our conversations with them. It was that simple. That got to be too hard, and we ran out of people we knew that were in the area. So we said we should do a Star Trek podcast, but there's so many. And like, what's going to be the hook? And I didn't want to do another interview show. And then this show was coming out. So we started it by doing predictions, all that stuff, like for the 2 or 3 months that wound up to it. And then it was a review show, and we kept going with that. We kept going with the other shows as they were coming out. And Paramount or CBS at the time was happy enough to stack it so that we're always getting a new Trek there for a while, which was great. So that would keep us having a weekly show all year round. So that was a lot of fun.
Same with our command division, which is our review division. We call it the command division, but it kept us going every Thursday for quite a while.
Yeah,
kept stacking everything up.
That was nice. What happened?
Yeah.
Somebody screwed up.
Strikes happened.
Strikes, yeah.
Oh, right. Labor relations.
Hadn't heard about that.
I'm sure
Hadn't heard about
that. Well, let me tell you about the strike. No, I don't. We don't have time for the strike stuff right now. But then, we wanted to ask you too, because I listened to your very last episode, and it certainly felt like you guys were going to keep going.
Mm-hmm. What was the last one?
It was Chris Fenolio.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, we had planned on it. I really don't know what happens. Because then we just don't talk for a couple of weeks, and then, or usually end it with call me when you're not busy. I'm always busy. I'm a comic artist. So, it's long hours. And I guess it just fell away from us. I don't know. But it's been so long now. What was that, like 6 months ago?
More than that, I think.
It was last year's. It was after last year's San Diego Con. So it was like in summer of 22, I think. Jeez. Yeah, it all flies by.
But it is good. I think we've kind of felt the same thing starting a Star Trek podcast. It's like so daunting because there are so many. So even if you get like a piece of the audience, it's usually a very small piece because it's like there's so many.
It's hardly a zero-sum game though, because like I myself listen to about 10 different Star Trek podcasts. So it's
exactly,
you're going to get listeners from other podcasts. The hard part for me was just it is much more time. It takes a much more time than people realize when you listen to it. You get an hour show every week. Oh, so it takes an hour. No, first off, you probably recorded 2 hours of nonsense, cut it down to an hour. Then there's the editing process, booking. If you do an interview, I don't know how you do it.
We've pretty much given up on editing.
Yeah, we started doing that.
Live.
Yeah, we do the same.
We're going live.
Yeah. We did this something very great. So we have live versions of me saying, "You want me to do that again? Take that from the top." But we did the same thing. We just said, we don't have to edit this. That's people aren't hearing a delay or hearing something repeated and going, "Oh, that's it, I'm out." The only thing. Yeah. All we worried about was audio levels, because you want to make sure one guy isn't that much louder, because it makes people pull their earbuds out. So,
yeah.
It does.
And so, looking a bit further back, I wanted to pick up on another thread we sort of you dropped there when we were talking about cover art and what had brought you to that. You said that mainly you're working sort of for Star Trek as cover artist, but you also sort of hinted at other smaller, more indie style projects. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I'm breaking off into some horror on the side. It was something I'd been wanting to do for the last 20 years, but I've been pretty locked into superhero and sci-fi.
Anything you can talk about at this point?
Well, the stuff that's already come out, of course. I participated in an anthology where I got to work with Peter David again. The Kolchak 50th anniversary. I did a 12-page story with Peter David and an 18-page story with MC Matheson. And I did the cover. And so I've been trying out horror because I don't have experience in horror outside of covers. So I've been trying it out in mostly anthologies. I did something called Shakespeare Unleashed, where I did a cover for that. And then we did some comics on that. And it's a horror take on Shakespeare. So
that sounds amazing.
Like a zombie story about Romeo and Juliet Part 2, what happens after. That kind of thing,
The fox comes home.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many horror elements in Shakespeare to begin with. It's not too hard to kind of take it on that tilt, and that's.
You could just do a straight illustration of I Claudius. You need to be. Yeah.
So,
no, I forget.
One thing I like about your art is because, like, Star Trek, it's sort of like almost like a two-sided coin, where some of it's like crazy space battles and stuff, but like 90% of it is just people standing still on a bridge. So it could be perceived as a little boring to draw or something. And sometimes in some of the older Star Trek issues, there was that at times where it was just the art wasn't too exciting because it's people in corridors and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you managed to find the excitement in what like Star Trek can be, as far as visually.
Thank you, I appreciate that. That's I was going to say, as you were describing that I see I see if you're getting bored with something, you're probably not doing it right. I can get just as excited about finding that perfect, I don't know, let's say Troy expression that she makes when Riker says certain things, and getting that right in a Star Trek comic kind of helps keep you in it. One of the best compliments I got from my work on the Mirror Universe story was they looked so different, but it felt like I was still in the watching an episode.
That's the creepiest thing about it. Oh, that's really well put. Yeah.
You know how you get that is by watching all these Star Treks so many times that, you have this shorthand with the writers, exactly what expression they're going for. They can even name an episode or, it was in season 3. And I'm like, oh, I know that face. I know that face.
Give me that Troy Armis look.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know the
one. In fact, for that werewolf cover you were talking about, I got a lot from, what was that called? I knew I didn't sleep well last night. It was the episode with, was it not Realm of Fear? That was the other one. Oh, it was one where Riker was
going crazy.
He's in the insane asylum, and you can't tell which is real and what's. Yeah. I got a lot of that expression for that werewolf transformation from that because he was doing so much with his face in that episode.
Oh yeah, those great scenes where he's just in that round window.
Yeah,
are wonderful. Yeah.
But it's just you may not recognize it. Yeah, he basically does his own cover of his little speech there reminds me of the Suicidal Tendency song. Remember, I went to your churches, your schools. When he's saying I do everything you tell me, and you still say I'm crazy. It was some great soliloquy he was getting.
It really was. So. Do you think they're gonna? Well, I guess that might be a spoiler you can't talk about. But is there any Star Trek sequential stuff coming up in your future? Do you think?
I hope so because I'm working on a project non-Star Trek related right now with Keith DeCandido, and I'm doing sequential. So remember that commitment I told you about. I got for about 6 months. After that, I'm hoping to steer back towards some Star Trek sequentials because I do miss it. I miss telling the story. I love just doing art, but I miss telling the story. That's the fun part, But I said, it's a lockdown. It's a lockdown for 6 months. If I'm working on like a 4-issue miniseries, or
we talk to and deal with a lot of comic artists over on some of our other shows, and a classic response from a comic artist is, "I'm busy tonight. Talk to me in 3 weeks."
Yeah.
I'm catching up on stuff tonight. Call me in 3 weeks.
Well, the good news is we only have to work 7 days a week. So
yeah, exactly. But that's funny,
and that's also how you have to plan things too. Yeah, you're like usually I make appointments for months in advance, and put it on the calendar because you gotta make sure you have room. Especially if you're coming close to a deadline, that's the scary part. That's when. If you got to work a 20-hour day, you got to work a 20-hour day, or sometimes not even sleep. So, yeah. It's a time-intensive job to do, and most artists spend more time than they need to working on it because of tremendous egos. Just going out there, we want everybody to see our best stuff, and if they tell us we got 3 weeks, we'll take 4. They tell us we got 4, we'll take 5. So every editor knows just. Knock it down by 1 week. The Scotty math. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You didn't tell him the real time, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's something.
That old tension of reason
artists
and passion,
and
right?
Starfleet captains have in common is the big egos, right? So,
yeah,
makes a good Starfleet officer.
Well, if that's channeled in pride of your work, that's not a bad thing ever. I want my doctor to have a tremendous, or a surgeon when I'm going under the knife to have a tremendous ego, because then he's not going to want to lose a patient.
True.
Sure. Sure.
So if that energy is channeled into something productive, then that's kind of what you want. You want to have a big ego, or fragile.
Spock.
Yeah,
we can Spock out with this conversation, right?
Oh God, he's got the biggest ego of everybody.
He
Goes around bragging how he doesn't feel anything all the time.
Except for that Vulcan in Take Me Up to the Holosuite. He's probably got the biggest ego.
Well, yeah, he may have the single largest Vulcan ego.
That guy was great. The high school grudge. That's what I think I love about that episode, going back to that.
Oh, yeah.
It was a whole episode about a high school grudge after we were talking about the whole Alpha Quadrant going down.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a break from that.
After paper, and each one started off with that damn wrestling match. It's just like, oh my god, that is actually insane. Like that, they need to like get that Vulcan a counselor. Like that is like the biggest grudge ever. And he's been winning the grudge the whole time. This Vulcan's so mad about like continuing to humiliate Ben Sisko. Like I don't know what
he came across a little petty, don't you think?
Oh man. But he does a brilliant job of conveying the fact that Vulcans have all sorts of feelings.
Yeah,
they just have really strict ways that they do not let you, that they don't admit it. You know, and it's wonderful. And that's one of the interesting things about Vulcans that has come out a lot in more recent Star Trek. One of my favorite scenes in recent Star Trek is that wonderful moment when Spock abruptly stands up from a table talking to another Vulcan, and I'm sorry you had to see that, and like nothing happened. Right? He's so ashamed that he had this massive display, and the others are going like,
Of all my father's colleagues, he truly brings out the worst in me, and then he walks away. It's just like, what? Like he probably just didn't do that as he walked by. And, like, that was it. That was classic.
I'm very upset. Sorry about the emotional outburst.
Yeah. So of all the new Treks that we've been enjoying in the last couple of years, which one's scratching your Trek the best?
Oh, I wish I had a more original answer, but I'm going to say Strange New Worlds. I mean,
well, it's pretty glorious.
It's I think people of a certain age, particularly, want to see episodic Trek again, and then when that came back, we all lost our minds. Oh, this is great. Yeah. It really wasn't that different in tone or look than the other shows. It's just that it was episodic. We got we didn't have to get upset about a detail that would explain itself later. And that's what I kind of noticed about people criticizing Discovery. They're all like, oh, Klingons don't do that, or I can't think of a specific right now, but there's always something that upsets you, and then you find out at the end of the season that it gets resolved. We don't have to deal with that with Strange New Worlds. Nothing to get mad
that's
about.
Comics do in general. People are like, what? Thor can't be a woman? It's just like, well, sure he can, but also like wait 6 months and
just wait till they change it. I can't believe so and so died. They'll be back.
I know. It's comics. Star Trek's pretty much the same. You can just pull
and
with Nexus if you really need to.
And with that kind of storytelling too, like where you're taking the whole season to tell one story essentially. So it's a one episode divided into 13 parts. Sure. Don't get upset, and don't get upset until the last episode. Then don't waste your energy. Because I'm saying this to myself because I got a little worked up on the Klingons. It's a redesign. That's what they do. That's what television does. I get it. At some reason, I handled it much more maturely as a child when I saw Christopher Lloyd in the makeup. That wasn't the same as the show. But for some reason in this, it bothered me.
Yeah. Between the original series and the films, Klingons did change completely.
Yeah.
And we all just like, oh yeah, well, there was a virus.
We went with
it. Right. There was a virus.
Well, some. I was cranky about it too. Some changes are upgrades. Some don't feel so much. It just seemed to make them a little more generic for my taste.
There was that Monster of the Week feel, and it's
any Voyager villain from season 5,
and it hit there was no humanity to the characters either, which is a weird thing to say. No Klingonamity to them.
Hang on, every term is racist.
But I mean, it was it sort of hid them too much for me. And made them feel like maybe a Tolkien character or other cool looking things that I like in different genres, but not in Star Trek. That was my thing. However, I did love there was much more diversity. Everybody wasn't wearing the same uniform. I did enjoy that. I did like if there are different houses, it's going to be more like feudal Japan than it is going to be Vikings wearing the same thing.
Well, the concept of it really caught me exactly.
Yeah. It kind of spoke to something I think was being kind of ignored. You get on a Klingon ship, they work very hard to make you feel like you're on a Viking ship, pretty much. But there's also that their whole honor system is based on feudal Japan, or so I was told. So I wanted to see a little more of that, and see what the clans or what their houses looked like. And you know, you can suspend disbelief. Weird thing to say when you're watching science fiction program, and just accept that maybe 10 years before we met them with Kirk, they were very different. And who cares why? Let it go.
Sure.
You know, it was a Cold War. They covered a lot up.
I think you really hit on something there with the difference between the serial and the episodic quality, though. And you know, in some sense, I think the finest balance of that was achieved in Deep Space Nine, perhaps, where we do have this massive continuing story, but we get wonderful episodes like The Sound of Her Voice, like just peppered into those things too, right? And I wonder if, the sense, you know, there's a way in which I think contemporary Trek has followed the market in terms of short, concise TV seasons that tend to tell a single narrative.
Right.
Do you think there's a technical sense in which Strange New Worlds and other things are moving back toward episodic, in the sense that the market's shifting itself? You know, that the streaming services are changing and that sort of thing? Or do you think it's really a difference in terms of like looking at the audience and what people want?
I feel like they were looking at the audience and looking what people wanted, and saying, hey, we got 4 shows, we can try it with 1, you know, and see how that works. And I honestly don't know that they were prepared for how popular what is now considered sort of antiquated television storytelling would be. And it wasn't really antiquated, because you were talking about how Deep Space Nine kind of latched onto something, but they were one of the first that would do that would use a season or two to tell a continuing story. But they also would bring up conflicts that they would resolve in each episode before they, you know, not necessarily have a cliffhanger, you know, just have like whatever happened in that episode is going to affect what happens in the next episode, even if it feels like it's done. And I feel like Strange New Worlds is doing that masterfully. I think that's more than anything, that's what I'm enjoying about it.
Yeah, I'd argue Deep Space Nine maybe does that balance better than any show has even since, which is like it could somehow do episodic episodes that still carried the narrative forward, and it didn't focus so much on the narrative that it pulled you out of the single episode ever. And they nailed it, I feel like.
And you know, anything you needed to know that they were worried you might not know, they were just last time on Deep Space Nine, and then you get your relevant scenes and you're caught up. So even if you're watching in syndication, you can watch something like that. But that was the main argument back then with TV, is this is going to be syndicated and people are going to use this, and they're going to put it in whatever order they want because it's theirs to do with what they want. And so they didn't want to be forcing potential customers to put the show in a specific order. They're like, we have the last time on DS9 thing. We're good. Everybody be caught up. You know, now certainly that's not even a concern, but they still do it on Strange New Worlds, even though it's streaming TV and you can rewatch anything you ever wanted. But it's still there in case you don't want to go back.
Do you miss Star Trek podcasting at all, since it's been a little while?
I do. It's the closest thing I had to a social life when I'm really putting in all these hours.
Well, we have a great many shows on our network, and we'd love to have you back on any of them. We have trivia, we have debate games, they're all Star Trek themed.
Normally you'd be talking to the side of my head, because this is where my table is where I work. But like I'll do, as long as nobody's put off by it, I'll do it while I'm working.
That works.
So I was going to ask
a quick
question
at work. It's like a treat, right? That's like seeing the process at work. It's like a treat.
It does make me wonder about your process. It looks like we are sort of in your studio workroom there. Yep. So is your process? Do you go from paper, or are you drawing straight on an electronic surface, or what's your process preference that way?
Paper. I actually mask it, and I paint either with ink or gouache over it, and then scan it in. Then I'm done.
Okay.
So every page you see, every cover you see is an actual painting. In fact, that Riker one you like so much, I got, or I should say my wife got Jonathan Frakes to sign it for me at one of the conventions I was at.
Oh, no kidding.
That's a wall piece if there ever was one.
Yeah, now I can't sell it. I was a little pissed. I was like, I wanted to sell that one.
I wanted to buy that one. So.
Yeah, no, that can't move now. Whoa, nice.
Yeah. Well, what can our audience? Where can they find you? What's new that they can go out and pick up, or maybe not even new?
I'm right in between something that's coming out that I can't announce yet, and everything else is just the Star Trek covers you've seen. I just did 2 more that are very horror type covers for
Star Trek.
For Star Trek, I guess
right
I
on.
say for the Defiant series. So I just did
good.
2.
I'm collecting that series.
All right, I got 2 covers coming up. I think they're the Bs or the retailer incentives. I don't know what the difference is, but
I know it gets hard. Track them down. I actually don't own that Riker cover because it didn't come into the store I go to. So
yeah, they're hard to get, right?
Not that cover. Yeah.
I think they were like 1 in 10 or something. Like for every 10, they make one of those or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And in about a month, I'll have something big to announce. It's a graphic novel, so it's going to be like 100 pages come out at once. So I've been kind of working in obscurity, and it's coming out just as a graphic novel, not floppies. So
look forward to that, everybody.
Indeed.
Well, I think we should let you get back to your process, and I actually have to run to a barber's appointment. But I do have one final question because we have another show called Trek 10 where we do top 10 lists, but random ones. So we did the top 10 plot threads to pick up for a Star Trek Legacy series. If you could pick up one plot thread from Star Trek for an episode, and you could bring back those actors and from that episode, or mix the characters, whatever. But what's a plot thread you would love to see picked up?
Conspiracy, since it felt like
it was on our list. It was number 1, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, because it ends on a cliffhanger, a very foreboding one that never gets picked up again. So I'm like,
every season, I'm like, all right, this is the episode. This is the season we're going to get that payoff of the conspiracy. And it's like, no.
And talk about that would be a great Trek anthology horror series too.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I mean that would,
because you could tell in many different stories about many different characters as long as they have little things sticking out of the back of their neck.
Oh yeah.
Could go across time too. You could do a lot with it.
Yeah,
it's pretty open.
New worlds.
Their progress following the signal toward Earth and everything. Oh man.
Yeah, they've been with us for a while. Would be kind of cool, and putting them back on Discovery or something. That would be that would be interesting. Yeah.
All the Badmirals have always just been conspiracy buggers. Yeah,
because they are all dicks. So
yeah, right. Yeah. There has to be some explanation. It can't just be the pressure of the job.
It's the bugs.
Well, is there a website or any social you want to send?
If you're interested in my art, the best thing to do is just follow me on Instagram because I'm always posting up there. I do a lot of that sped up photography, painting. On there, so if you like process stuff, that's a good place to go. And I'm just JK_Woodward on Twitter or X, whatever it is now, and all the other Blue Sky, Mastodon. I got like 10 Twitters now. But I just go by my name, JK_Woodward. So look me up there.
Oh well, that is awesome, and thanks for joining us again.
Sure.
We have another interview show that I believe you've invited on where they get more in depth on things. We just like to shoot the shit about Trek over here.
Yeah, the other one's more of a comic thing, right?
Yeah,
or more of an art thing.
Just your life in general. It's more of a real interview show.
But yeah, it's it's been lovely to get to know you today. So thanks so much for making time for us.
It really has been.
Anytime you want to do this again, contact me. And like I said,
I'm
always in this room. So.
Well, we're happy to talk to the side of your head anytime.
As long as you're showing us the good side, like the photogenic side.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess that there's only one thing left to say.
Indeed. End transmission.